This special episode, Tech Today goes outdoors, off the beaten path. Like I said, there's good reason for the Mahindra Thar, this iconic off-roader, to be there on Tech Today. That's why we're off-roading in the middle of nowhere. That's because Mahindra has come up with a Thar NFT. Now, it's fascinating to see one of the country's top automotive companies take a brand like this and bring it into the NFT space. So that piqued our interest, and that's why I spoke to the team that made it happen. Have a look. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us on Tech Today. Harish, I'd like to start off by asking you all about the Thar. Now, this is a cult favorite for so many of us off-roading enthusiasts, but its charm really comes from being rudimentary. It's the OG off-roader. So what was the genesis of actually tokenizing something as iconic and classic as the Thar and really making it an NFT?
See, when we started off the concept of the Thar, yes, our off-roaders were built earlier, to go where there were no roads, to go into uncharted territories. And that is in our DNA. But if you see the all-new Thar, we have combined the go-anywhere attitude of the Thar with, features and functionalities like comfort and sophistication, etc. So it's a mix of both the worlds. And anyway, what we hope to do, or what we aim to do, is to take our authentic SUV positioning with the brand, promise of explore the impossible into new and uncharted territories. Last year, when we started with with marketing of all of our new launches, we stated that we will be a digital-first organization. And in that transition to a digital-first organization, we see the NFTs as a completely exciting and a new and exciting platform to push the boundaries of, explore the impossible. And as you mentioned, the Thar exemplifies that Mahindra promise. And if you add to that, it's larger than life imagery. People are the fans of Thar and the loyalists of Thar and the owners of Thar absolutely love and are in love with the vehicle. And this larger than life imagery we thought is best suited to be the first from an auto, OEM to go into this socially wired landscape of NFTs.
Now, the Thar NFT auction ended last week. What was the response like? Were you happy with the outcome?
See, we had two, aims with this. One was to enter this space of NFTs and, maybe get into it and learn as we go. The second, which is very close to our heart, is that all the proceeds of the sale were to go to Nanikali. And that is something that is absolutely brilliant that we do as an organization, supporting the underprivileged girl child and providing education and other, support. So I think it was something to do with the brand as well as it was close to our heart. And we are absolutely stoked with the kind of response that we got. If you even see the kind of comments that, people and our fans gave, hugely positive. Everyone appreciated the fact that we were in the world of NFTs. They appreciated the NFTs per se and the concept that we had developed. And they were very positive about Nanikali and what we were doing on that front. Over the period of the bid, I think we closed at a total of 26 lakhs for the 4 NFTs. And given the comparison that we had studied a lot of other NFTs that happened in the market, both in India and outside of India. And given the value that we got, I thought that it was brilliant in terms of our first foray.
Interesting. Rajesh, we're going to get our geek mode on, and there's a lot of auto and tech geeks watching Tech Today, and we love to geek it out. So given that you worked on the tech side of this foray into NFTs, and Tech M played a very active role in the whole process, it would be nice to really understand what sort of synergies and collaborative spirit were required across such a large group like the Mahindra Group. How important is it to have that sort of synergistic culture across such a large group? Was it easy to pull this off?
Yeah, thank you, Ayush. Thanks for having me on the show. Very interesting question from your perspective. A large group like Mahindra with so many entities in the group, it becomes a little bit difficult from a coordination and a synchronization perspective. But we have an interesting initiative going on called as Mahindra One. Under the aegis of Mahindra One, we fairly work as one team with the same dream. So we basically see it as one particular entity. From that perspective, it has been pretty easy from a coordination and implementation perspective, right from conceptualization to rollout of this particular service. And this is not the only area where we have this collaboration going on. We have collaboration on multiple fronts, whether it is cybersecurity, whether it is infrastructure services, whether it is leveraging cloud services. There are many collaborations that are going on currently between the wider Mahindra group as well as Tech Mahindra, to reiterate that at the end, we are one Mahindra.
Rajesh, just because we got to get our geek mode on tech today, there's a lot of auto and tech geeks who tune into the show. So just understanding what it was like from a tech perspective to really come up with something like this, right? A while ago, we were doing this huge crypto panel and we were talking to a lot of legacy companies as well, trying to understand what it's like to modernize things and really enter, well, the blockchain world or the metaverse, Web 3.0 as we like to call it. In that sense, like we're talking about a big group like Mahindra, a very established, reputed group, what was it like modernizing this sort of a system and really, spreading awareness about how this is going to work, and how did, well, the tech implementation work when it came to actually making the Mahindra Thar an NFT?
Sure, Ayush. In fact, we had many uncharted territories that we had to go into. One is from the brand perspective per se, as Harish had mentioned, explore the impossible. We literally took that particular explore the impossible on the tech side as well. And why do I say that is from two perspectives. One is in terms of the existing protocol that is available in the marketplace, which is de facto the gold standard, which is the Ethereum protocol. And there have been some issues on the Ethereum protocol from a scaling up, from a transaction per second perspective, the gas fees. And also there is a little bit of association with Ethereum that it is energy intensive protocol. So something that we want to do it for the good of the society and for the good of those girls at Nani Kali. We had to be extremely careful in terms of selecting a protocol which is completely aligned with our thought process. So one, we had selected a protocol which is Polygon. Very proud to say that it's a protocol that has been architected from India. It's a layer 2 solution built on Ethereum, lot more efficient and lot more less energy consuming protocol. So we had to use that particular protocol, Polygon, and then customize it from grounds up to put together our NFT marketplace. Number one. Number two, the other challenge, as you know, most of the NFTs the worldwide are sold in the cryptocurrencies. So given the regulatory climate in India, and also given the fact that it is an initiative from a legendary group like Mahindra with 75 years of existence, we didn't want to do something in the area of cryptos where the regulatory climate is not very clear. So we had to set this entire platform or the entire marketplace using the fiat currency. Now, there are very few NFT providers who've been able to architect the solution using the fiat currency. So that's why I say explore the impossible, both from the protocol perspective and also from the payment perspective. How do you set it up on an Indian rupee? What happens in you're doing it using a crypto, things work very easily. Number one, you have smart contracts. The smart contracts can be written and the money will be auto-debited after a successful bid has been placed. There is no intervention that needs to be done. But with Indian wallets, those smart contract functionality is not optimal. So we had to reinvent the processes to make it happen. And at the end, I'm of a firm believer that you have a good cause to work on, the solution will automatically fall in place and things get done.
Harish, Rajesh, what a pleasure to talk to you today on Tech Today. I hope we continue to have these auto and tech geek huddles here on the show, and we'll speak to you very soon. And for all of you, thanks so much for watching. There's a lot more on the show, so stay tuned.
Thank you, Ayush. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
So much talk of NFTs on the show, but I'm really curious to see whether you guys actually know what an NFT is. That's why the Tech Today team took to the streets of Delhi to find out.
I do, yeah. Non-fungible token.
Do you mean non-fungible tokens?
लोग बकवास चीजें महंगे रेट पे बेच रहे हैं.
It is a sort of digital currency type thing where you can invest into them. They're sort of like digital assets of sorts, like a digital art form.
Basically, now everything is becoming digital, and given the workspace we are in.
Anything can basically be an NFT.
So, everybody wants to switch to digital currencies. And basically, NFT is a source in which, like I used to work at an agency. So over there, we were taught about NFTs. Nowadays, instead of actually dealing with money, NFTs is one thing we can kind of work with or exchange.
From what I've heard, it's non-fungible token. But to be honest, I don't have much knowledge on this. These days on Instagram, there are lots of people who make accounts for whatever work they do.
You can turn them into an NFT, and they'll rise in value as time goes on. So you invest into them, they'll rise in value, and you can trade them for other NFTs. That's sort of my understanding. I'm not entirely informed on the topic, but yeah, that's what I think NFTs are at the moment.
No idea. Somebody is selling कोई photo, कोई कुछ भी चीज बेच रहा है. I'm just following the news and more.
I think it's growing and it has a lot of potential. In the coming years, we'll see it, because like I've seen Bitcoin also grow from 2016, what its value was and how, now what it is, and regret the decision of not buying it earlier. So given that, now things are coming up and growing. So let's see how it goes.
So it turns out a lot of Gen Z and millennials don't know what an NFT is, so you have to stay tuned to Tech Today to know more. And all of us out here on the Tech Today team have been doing a lot of off-roading and taking the explore the impossible theme that we spoke about earlier a little too seriously. So we made a pit stop, we're going to refuel. And if the first half of the show was all about this adventurous lifestyle, the second half of the show is about a brand that promises never to settle. So come back after this commercial break and let me have, well, my meal as well. I'll catch you soon.
Line, not because it's just our job. It is our duty to tell you the story as it unfolds, brave, fearlessly, relentlessly, and we'll do it at any cost. This is Mosmi Singh with video journalist Parminder Sharma reporting from war zone Mykolaiv, Ukraine for India Today.
Grounded in journalism, on the ground reporting. Only on India Today TV.
You are watching India Today.
Welcome back. Now, if you actually were tuned in for the first half of the show and you heard me talk all about the second segment when we actually stopped for a refueling break, then you will know that a very special unboxing is happening at the studio. But for that, I'm not in the metaverse. I'll have to go there. Bye, guys. We're here in the studio because we've got mail. In fact, we actually left our outdoor experience because we've got mail, and it's come from this company called OnePlus in this swanky red box which says co-developed with Hasselblad. But you know what they say, don't judge a book by its cover. It looks premium on the outside, but is it actually a premium flagship on the inside? Well, let's find out. Well, now for the box inside the box. And this, please don't try this at home. There you go. Let's see if it slides like a premium device. It does. Jokes aside, this is quite an interesting unboxing experience. Wow, another cover inside as well. This is another OnePlus cover. What do we have over here? Oh, we have a welcome set. And then comes the phone. Before I show you the phone, let's just see what else you get. Of course, you get this. This is their massive charger. It's an 80-watt charging brick, or at least like the other phones and the other competitors that OnePlus has, or the competitors that it wants to have, Samsung and Apple. Well, they don't give you this. Here you get a charging brick, which is 80 watts out of the box. We're going to test this as well. But strangely, they call it super whoop charging. I'm wondering where they get that terminology from. We'll be testing the charging. I think it's 0 to 100 in under 30 minutes or 30 minutes, which is fantastic. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Okay, that was quite slippery. The OnePlus 10 Pro. We had a few concerns when we were approaching this OnePlus 10 Pro. How much better was it from the OnePlus 9 Pro, which had a lot of bugs? Is it actually a flagship killer? What is OnePlus thinking with this whole Oppo connection? And the most important question, if you like OnePlus phones over the years, it was because their software implementation or their implementation or version of Android, which is called Oxygen OS, seemed to be going through an overhaul. Everyone said it was going to become a lot more like Color OS. OnePlus had come out and said there's going to be a unified interface. And frankly, look, my personal take is as long as they maintain their originality, what got them that loyal community, I think OnePlus would be fine. So that was our biggest concern. I opened it up, and of course it's running Oxygen OS. So I'll tell you very quickly about the specs, and then I'll tell you what works and what doesn't work when it comes to the OnePlus 10 Pro 5G. So the phone is quite sturdy. It has Gorilla Glass Victus protection on the front and Gorilla Glass 5 protection on the back. It's IP68 rated for water and dust resistance. So the phone really has a chance at surviving if you're putting it in water or dust, but it's strongly advised that you don't do this. When you're talking about the display, this phone actually comes with a 6.7-inch Quad HD Plus AMOLED screen of 120Hz refresh rate. The real game changer is the fact that it comes with an LTPO 2.0 panel, which is an adaptive refresh rate panel. That means it can go all the way down to 1 Hz and then go all the way up to 120 Hz based on what you're doing. If you're playing a game, it might go up. If you're watching some interesting content, it might go up. And then it'll come down if you're just scrolling through the menus and save a lot of battery as well. Look, it has a brightness of over 1000 nits and it comes with HDR10 Plus certification, so you're going to enjoy watching content on it. If you watch content on this 10-bit display and you watch content on your smartphone, you have things like image sharpeners, video color enhancers, all that sort of stuff if you want to make your content consumption experience a lot better. In terms of performance, it comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 SoC, which has 12 GB of RAM, LPDDR5, and 256 GB internal storage. Gone are the days when you had all sorts of different storage and RAM options on OnePlus phones. It comes with Android 12 base Oxygen OS 12.1, but honestly, it looks and feels a lot like Color OS 12. The camera hardware looks great, and they've worked with Hasselblad. It's a 3-year partnership where they're working with Hasselblad on improving their cameras. But are they trying to take on the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra or the iPhone 13 Pro, 13 Pro Max? Well, I think they're still behind the curve over there. Of course, they have a fantastic primary camera sensor and it does well in low light conditions. It also has a quick fixing focus, zero shutter lag, a 150-degree ultra wide angle sensor as well. But let's actually put this through its paces and show you what it's all about. Well, let's just say here's what we liked and didn't like about the OnePlus 10 Pro. What we didn't like is the camera performance, which is exactly what they promised us would get a lot better. And now we've come to a point where this phone, if you use all the schemes, would cost you somewhere between 60 to 65,000 rupees. And for that, I think you get a lot of value for money if you're not a OnePlus fanboy. If you're in the market for an Android phone and you want something which is a good bang for your buck, the OnePlus 10 Pro is fantastic. I'm pleasantly surprised, of course, with the display as well. This 120 Hz is really implemented very well, and I think that's something that they've done. Of course, there's no bloatware on OnePlus phones. I'm glad they're not doing that like the other Chinese brands. But if you're a OnePlus fanboy and you've been tracking the company for the past few years and owned a OnePlus device, then you might be a little concerned given the fact that there are a lot of things from ColorOS that have come onto this phone, and even the packaging and experience seems like that. But honestly, it's still quite a good device at that sort of price range. The only concern for this device, if you look at it neutrally without any bias, is the fact that it's not now taking on the Apples and Samsungs of the world, but what it actually is taking on is its other Chinese, well, rivals and counterparts. That would happen to be Realme and Xiaomi and companies like that, because in this price range, a lot of them now have, well, affordable flagships as well. And I think that's where the competition will be. You know, I'm a little confused because when you're actually using the phone and these small things like the animation that shows up when your fingerprint sensors unlock, it's kind of interesting, right? So what if it's going the ColorOS way? It still has picked up, well, a few interesting things from the Oppo scheme of things. But I'm just saying, if you're a OnePlus fanboy over the years, or an Oxygen OS fanboy, or stock Android, then a lot of you perhaps might start looking at someone coming back from another country with the Google Pixel 6 Pro. I know a lot of people who have really opted for that phone because that truly is the only phone out there which gives you a truly stock Android experience. That's how Google wants you to use their phones. All in all, there are two ways to look at this purchase decision if you're considering the OnePlus 10 Pro 5G. Are you a OnePlus fanboy or are you not a OnePlus fanboy? If it's the latter, then it's a simple decision for you. It's a great phone, it looks and feels good, it has a flagship processor, a decent camera system, and some good software on the phone as well. It is under 65,000 rupees and it is as good as it gets in that price point at that budget. But the problem begins if you are a OnePlus fanboy or have been over the years. Then you might be concerned that you're not getting the true Oxygen OS OnePlus experience and things are heading the Oppo way. The biggest concern in your head might be that OnePlus has actually settled. You're back already? No. There's a lot more happening at the studio. There's a lot more to do with OnePlus. My colleague Jhinuk has all the details. Jhinuk, over to you.
Evidently, I spend a lot of time around audio products. And one of them that has become my favorite over the last couple of weeks are earbuds. When we're looking for earbuds, we're looking out for two main things, the sound and the fit. We wear earbuds while we are working out and also while we are working. So it's very important for them to stay in place. And my never-ending quest for buds that fit well and also sound good, I've come to the OnePlus Buds Z2. The OnePlus Buds Z2 launched alongside the OnePlus 9 RT smartphone, and they succeed the OnePlus Buds Z that launched in 2020. They're available in two colors, the pearl white, which we have, and an obsidian black, and they're retailing for Rs 4,999 right now. So are the OnePlus Buds Z2 worth the Rs 5,000 price tag? Let's find out. The OnePlus Buds Z2 feature 40 decibels of active noise cancellation, or ANC as is popularly known, and they support environmental noise cancellation as well with a 3-mic call noise reduction feature. You need to download the Hey Melody app from the Play Store or the App Store to fine-tune these buds, but if you're using a OnePlus device, you can control these buds straight from your Bluetooth settings. The OnePlus Buds Z2 come with dual 11mm dynamic drivers, and they also have this specific 94 millisecond ultra-low latency mode, which is great for gaming. Now, this ultra-low latency gaming mode only works on specific OnePlus devices and not on all devices. These buds are IP55 rated for sweat and water resistance, so which means you can comfortably wear it at the gym or even if you're going out for a quick walk. However, don't take it for a swim and don't wear it when you're going out running in the rain, for instance. Additionally, this charging case is also IPX4 rated for water and sweat resistance. The OnePlus Buds Z2 promised 38 hours of battery life on a single charge, and it also supports flash charging. So as the company says, about 10 minutes of charge can give you 5 hours of playback time. Speaking of a good fit, the OnePlus Buds Z2 do have this ear fit testing feature in the Hey Melody app that you can use to figure out if the buds are fit right in your ear well or not. And like most other buds, these also ship with extra silicone tips so as you can find a size that fits you just perfectly. In my time with these buds, I faced no issues whatsoever when I was wearing it on the treadmill or on the cross trainer. However, the very moment I broke into a proper run on the treadmill, I could feel the buds slipping. The outer sides of the buds are touch sensitive and you can change the touch controls from the Hey Melody app. Now let's talk about the second most important thing, the sound experience on the OnePlus Buds Z2. I prefer a very bass-heavy experience with all my music, so on that front, I found this to be a little wanting. The treble is pretty darn perfect though. So while I wasn't exactly blown away by the sound performance on the OnePlus Buds Z2, I wasn't disappointed either. And one of the main things that made me think that this was one of the earbuds that I could totally recommend to somebody was its price point and the fact that you get ANC for Rs 5,000 only. Now sure, you can pay 1,000 rupees more and get the Nothing Ear One. Let's be honest, these buds don't look very impressive. The Nothing Ear One looks absolutely smashing. However, in my review of the Nothing Ear One, while the sound was really great, I found a lot of software issues which kinda ticked me off. OnePlus has no such issues and the sound experience is absolutely fine and it works. So in that case, if you want to save that $1,000 and get the OnePlus, you won't be disappointed.
You know, us geeks on tech today, we believe that it's better to learn in practice than in theory. That's why we took you off-roading, so that you actually understood what on earth an NFT is. Now, if you've enjoyed this show or you've not liked this show, do write into us on our social media handles. I don't know about next week. Maybe we'll be outdoors like this. Maybe we'll be indoors. Maybe we won't be in the studio. You'll only know if you tune into the show next week. Thanks so much for watching. Until next week, adios.
The far-sightedness of one visionary, innovation and excellence in